I call this meeting of the Alvin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Would you all rise for the invocation given by Ms. Winterstrom and remain standing for the pledge?
Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather today. May everything we do begin with your inspiration and continue with your help. We ask your guidance through this meeting, that all of our thoughts and actions will reflect your holy will, and that you would grant us the grace to love you and our neighbors more perfectly. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, up on the agenda is the introduction of greeters, Mr. Combs, and the commendations.
Yes, ma'am. The greeters for the evening are members of the Meridiana Elementary Boys with a Purpose Club under the direction of teacher Mr. Guillory. And the young men are in attendance, and many of you met them coming through the door this evening, looking very sharp with their ties and very professional, giving you a little display of their leadership that they've been learning on campus. And they're here this evening to showcase their program and how it is encouraging them to learn to be gentlemen and leaders in the school and community. So gentlemen and Mr. Guillory, please come forward. And Mr. Guillory plans to give you a small update on what they are doing at their campus.
As he mentioned, I'm Tony Guillory. I'm actually one of the special ed teachers at Meridiana. We started this group with 15 boys, 5 each from 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade, and they were all nominated by their teachers. So this is a very select group, and they're doing wonderful things. We meet on Wednesdays, and they are encouraged to dress up on Wednesdays, and they help me with the car rider duty, and they come out and open doors for everyone and practice those things that we kind of talk about during our meetings and everything. Who we have with us, we have Christian Davis, we have Tyler Starling, we have Miguel Tordero, Terrence Dorsey, and Adrian Randall L. And they're really glad to be invited by you guys.
All right, gentlemen, can we invite you to the front? Will you come forward? We're going to take a photo. If y'all come forward. We also let them know we're going to put them on the spot, and we're going to hand them the mic and ask them a very important question. Mr. Guillory just introduced you, gentlemen, but will you say your name once again and tell us your favorite thing about Meridiana Elementary? Are you up for it? Okay.
My name.
Jacob's a 4th grader. I'm going to be his agent.
My name is Adrian Clarkell, and what I like about Meridiana is being in the club with Mr. G and talking about different things about my school.
My name is Terrence, and what I like about is like how Mr. G teach us about being gentlemen.
You can do it. Pass it on.
My name is Tyler Starling, and I like Meridiana Elementary because we get to learn.
My name is Christian Davis, and I like Meridiana Elementary because the teachers are nice and they make learning fun.
My name is Zabrick, and I like Meridiana because I get to be in this group with all my friends.
All right, moms, dads, don't be shy. We will wait as long as we need to for the paparazzi to make sure you get the perfect photo this evening. Feel free to come to the front as well. Gentlemen, y'all did a remarkable job this evening, and we're looking forward to your continued leadership at your campus. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I would like to pass on one additional thing. Aren't you just inspired by the leadership that Mr. G, as he's known, or Mr. Guillory has for our students in this district? And it should also be noted that he is retired from, I believe, the U.S. Navy. Air Force, excuse me, from there. Got to get that right, but how about a round of applause for his service? And for our first commendation this evening, we have the Brazoria County Fair Little Miss, Elizabeth Hamelman. Please come on down, Elizabeth. Come to the front, please. And Elizabeth is a second grader at Alvin Primary, and she recently received the honor of being named Little Miss by the Brazoria County Fair Association. And this honor will enable her to represent Alvin Primary and our community in a positive manner for various community events. And the sole purpose of the competition is for participating children to have an opportunity to be involved in a fun learning experience where they go through an interview process that shows their personality, poise, and character. So congratulations, Elizabeth. Elizabeth did share that she'd be happy for me to hand over the mic and she would come up with a speech this evening on the spot. So she's shaking her head no, but she shared that earlier. I believe she could do it as well. All right, congratulations, Elizabeth. Next, we have a second grader from Mary Merrick Elementary who probably does not need a calculator because he is among the best of the best with his math skills. Noah Calavota, please come on down, Noah, to the front. And Noah participated in the Big Brains online math fluency program and scored 90%. Go ahead to the front there. 90% on or above all levels. And Noah has shown complete fluency in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, which typically takes students up until the 5th grade to accomplish. And remember, Noah is just in the 2nd grade. Congratulations, Noah. Congratulations. Next, we have members of the Alvin ISD Teacher Leadership Academy, which was started initially in the summer of 2015. The district is currently in the third cohort, and teachers are given the opportunity to explore various topics and conversations related to their personal beliefs, their mission, incorporating student voice into the design of work, learning leadership skills and lessons, and taking trips to organizations such as Apple this past summer to learn from their leadership and to witness how they incorporate their vision and beliefs into their organization. So this evening we have members of the first cohort that completed in the summer, as well as the second cohort, which completed the academy last week. And so first from cohort 1, we would like to welcome Jamie Baldwin, Michael Biasini, Trace Davis, Cammie Day, Doris Malone, Elaine Geikema, Randy Geikema, Joanne Light, Lenita Reed, Lauren Summy, Randy Teal, Cynthia Villarreal Ross. How about a round of applause for these folks? A number of folks were not able to be here this evening, including Katie Benavides, Amy Davison, Monica Herrera, and Sandy Holtzclaw, but we appreciate their participation in the academy as well.
Okay, now y'all have to get in alphabetical order.
Or short, short to tall.
All right, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
And from the second cohort, which completed last week, we have a number of folks here. James Atkins, Henry Castle, Debbie Cuellar, Kevin Davis, Emily Hall, Gissette King, Bridget Landry, Cassie McNeil, Jorge Perez, Edna Reyna, Adriana Sanchez Quintu, Holly Taylor, Robin Vale, Richard Van Gilder, Amy Walker, Darnell Weatherspoon, Barbara Weaver Trevino, Joni Wyndham, and Janet Zavala. How about a round of applause for these folks? And for the members that participated in both the first and the second cohort, it was an inspiration to hear the conversations these folks had and their commitment to each of their students individually. They gave of their time 2 or 3 days in the summer, as well as numerous evenings throughout the year, and it was all to invest in themselves as learners for the benefit of their students. So it was really an inspiration, and I can tell you what, the students in Alvin ISD are in good hands with these folks, so thank y'all very much.
Behave yourself.
It's just trouble.
We're gonna have to put you between me and Nicole so we can both keep on.
Everything between y'all?
Yes.
Don't hop up.
Congratulations, y'all, and thank you for your participation and service to our students. Those are our commendations for the evening.
Thank you. Everybody gets settled.
Just a second, we're gonna let people. Just nervous.
Shouldn't be. What? Are you going to announce her? She wants to know.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Look out and just noticed.
Ready?
Yes. All right, moving forward in our agenda, we have 2 presentations tonight, and the first one is the public hearing on Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas, also known as FIRST.
Okay, good evening, Board President, board members, faculty and staff, Dr. Gilcrease, and community members. Like Ms. Harris said, this is a public meeting, public hearing, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So what does FIRST mean? FIRST stands for Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. This report is basically a financial report card for school districts. Its purpose is to help public schools manage their financial resources in order to maximize allocation for direct instructional expenses, as well as providing additional transparency to public education in finance. The 2016 ratings that you're going to see tonight are based on the financial data that was submitted back in 2015 for the 2015 school year. The first report is based on 15 financial indicators, of which the first 5 are critical indicators. If any failure on the first 5 critical indicators means that the report would fail. So let's look at the first 5 indicators. What is measured here is the annual financial report. Was that completed and submitted to TEA on time? The second is the annual financial review, or the financial report again, but whether it received an unmodified opinion and whether it had any material weaknesses. And the third indicator here is the debt payments. Were those made on time? And then you also have timely payments made to the teacher retirement system, the Texas Workforce Commission, the IRS, and any other governmental agencies. And then your last critical indicator is your net assets. Was that, within the governmental activities, is the total unrestricted net asset balance greater than a 0? So any answer of a no to these 5, you would automatically fail the report. The next indicators, 6 through 12, are your solvency indicators. These focus on the solvency of the district. You have your cash on hand, the measurement of current assets to current liabilities, and then your ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets. Then the 9th indicator for financial solvency is your revenues to expenditures, where your revenues higher than expenditures. You have your debt service ratio, your administrative cost ratio, and then a decline in students to staff ratio. And of course, as anybody can guess, we definitely would pass that one with a high mark because we're not declining in students. Then the third set of financial indicators are your financial competence indicators. Those include your PEMS data information that's submitted to TEA, your material non-compliance, which would be reported by the external auditors, which is included in your financial report, and then any adjustments of repayment schedule from TEA. And unlike the critical indicators, the solvency and the financial indicators have a weight of a score of 0 to 10. And I'm happy to report that Alvin ISD has received a 10 on every indicator. Therefore, we have scored a perfect 100. And so for 14 years, since 2002, Alvin ISD has achieved a superior rating. And a copy of this report has been provided tonight, and it's also posted online if you need to look at it any further. So are there any questions?
Congratulations to y'all. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
Absolutely. It's 14 years. Yay.
Wow.
Thank you.
You know, when you make that 99, we're gonna be mad.
I'll be mad too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Outstanding job.
So we were in an open hearing for that portion, which began at 7:15, and we're out of the open hearing at 7:20, finishing that open hearing. Moving on to the next presentation is the financial audit presentation.
Board, you have at your place there a copy of the audit, and we will continue on with the good news as we keep going. So
thank you. Glad to be here tonight to present to you the annual financial report. My name is Debbie Kirkham, and I'm with the firm of Weaver and Tidwell, and we were excited to be engaged to perform the audit for this year's financial statements. As you look at the PowerPoint, the comprehensive annual financial report, and also just the highlights from the federal single audit report we put together in this PowerPoint for you. I think each of you have a paper copy of that just in front of you in case those numbers are a little bit too small. But you can see in the first slide is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the general fund. And this comes out of page 40 of your comprehensive annual financial report. Your local and intermediate revenues was 69 million, and I'm just going to speak in the rounded millions here. State money was 127 million, and then your federal programs 2 million, and the general fund for a total of $200 million in revenues. Your expenditures totaled $195 million in total, and you can see the greater part of that is your instruction and instructional related services of $114 million. And then your excess of revenue over expenditures was $4 million to increase to the fund balance. And then you transferred out to the capital projects as you planned for your capital projects fund. You transferred $27 million of your fund balance to the capital projects fund. And as you began with the $74 million, your ending fund balance was $51 million. On the next slide is the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance of the debt service, and this will be also on page 40 of your CAFR. And in that particular debt service fund, oh, I'm sorry, the next slide was the general fund highlights. I must have passed that up. I'm sorry, the general fund highlights, I apologize, I must have hit the button twice. Just to note that you decreased the $23 million from the transfer to the capital projects, which I mentioned, and also you increased your revenues in total from the 14-15 year of $17.5 million. And another point is your general administration ratio was 2.6% of total expenditures, which is less than your state average. Now your debt service fund, which was the next one, is you had total revenues in your debt service fund of $33 million. You can see the largest portion is your local revenue, which is your property taxes of $24 million. Your state programs, $8 million, and your federal money in there was like $477,000. But your debt service expenditures and other intergovernmental charges in that fund were $33 million, and you also did a bond refunding last year that you sold some refunding bonds of $21 million. You transferred in $1.7 million, and then you had the premium on those refunding bonds of $3.9 million, and then the payment to the old bonds that you paid off because you got a better rate were $25 million to pay those particular bonds off. And so overall, you increased the debt service fund $2.1 million, which brought their fund balance from $13.7 million to $15.9 million. Gone the wrong way, or either I've got them out of order there. But the capital projects fund is the next slide, and its local revenues were $641,000. That's primarily your interest earnings, and your expenditures in the capital projects fund were total $106 million, and you had an excess of expenditures over your revenues of $105 million. You issued new capital schoolhouse bonds last year of $117.4 million, and as I mentioned earlier in the general fund, that you transferred money out of the general fund, and you can see that transfer coming back in of $25.5 million, and then you also had a premium on those bonds of $13.7 million. And so that overall increase in the fund balance in the capital projects funds was $50 million, which brought it from $137 million to $187 million. One of the most important things that the state Texas Education Agency looks at is in the federal single audit report, they look at the summary of auditors' results. And what they want to know is all of this information is going to come to them at the close of the year in PEMS data. The school district also sends an ASCII file of your audit report. They send a PDF of the audit report. And so when they get all this information electronically, they want to know how can they rely on the financial statements. Are the assets and the liabilities and the revenues and expenditures fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles? And so the very first thing is the opinion on the basic financial statements, which Cheryl mentioned a while ago in the first rating, which was imperative to get that perfect rating was to get an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that can be given on the financial statements, that they are properly reporting all of those items, assets, liabilities, revenues, and expenditures, and has all the note disclosures as required by generally accepted accounting principles. Also, our audit was conducted in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States, and also the government auditing standards that are issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. The other thing that they look at, I'm going to get the touch of this before this is over. I think I touched it a little bit too hard. The other thing is, in the summary of auditors' results, is the opinion on the compliance with major programs. And also that is good. The programs that we audited this year was the Title I and the Title II, and also complements there. They also got an unmodified or clean opinion. There were no material weaknesses, as Cheryl mentioned earlier, was one of the indicators they look at in regards to the financial statements or in regards to those particular federal programs. There were no material weaknesses or no significant deficiencies or non-compliance as it relates to the financial statements or the federal programs. And I'd be glad to open it up for any questions that you might have at this moment. And while you're thinking about a question, I just want to congratulate Cheryl and Susan. I know we ask for a lot of things at interim. We come back at year end. They have planning lists at year end. And she definitely had enough for us to keep us busy all the time of all the things that we requested. And we appreciate also the grant coordinators handling the Title I and Title II. We appreciate everyone's cooperation and professionalism, and the kudos is to them because they did the hard work.
Great. Does anybody have any questions? All right then, hearing none, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And congratulations to the finance department.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job. And we appreciate the
Not an easy
relationship that we've started with you guys. The audit works both ways, and we appreciate the ease of working with you and all the expertise that you guys have brought to verify what our people are already doing. So thank you very much.
Okay, moving forward in the agenda, next is open forum, and I don't believe we have any, Mary Ann, is that correct? Thank you. All right, y'all, moving to the consent agenda. It's A through G, which means we have 7 items. Are there any consent agenda items any board member would like to pull? All right, then, hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve consent agenda items A through G? So first by Ms. Winterstrom, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Pickren. All right then, all in favor of approving consent agenda items A through G? Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda is the request to consider approval of district campus performance objectives.
Board, every year under the Education Code, it requires us to accept these district and campus improvement plans objectives based upon the TAPR report, and then those that they're periodically measured towards progress during the school year. They have to be approved by you guys and must be published in an annual report. So these are the list of those from each campus and then at the district level. And our recommendation is that we adopt them as presented.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the district campus performance objectives?
So moved.
First by Ms. Tanini. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Scheibel. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Sure.
I want to say thank you to the great work that is in this. I know a few years back, it was like every single one was the same exact thing, and they obviously weren't directed towards each campus. And I know that these, looking through them, definitely fit each campus and the needs from that campus, and I appreciate that work.
Yep, you can tell that thought, deep thought was put into it. That's wonderful. All right, then, hearing no other questions or comments, all in favor of approving the district campus performance objectives as presented? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Next is a request to consider approval of the financial audit report.
Well, just a few minutes ago, you heard that audit presented, and so now it is time to formally present that on an official vote of the board. So our recommendation is that we approve that financial audit as presented.
All right, Do I hear a motion to approve the 2015-2016 financial audit as presented?
So moved.
First by Ms. Pickering, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Metoyer. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right then, hearing none, all in favor of approving the 2015-2016 financial audit report as presented? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Next on the agenda is the request to consider approval of award of the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 1 of Alvin High School improvements for UIL events and parking.
Board, we had a presentation to you a while back from a citizens committee that had met and recommended several additions and changes at the Alvin High School campus, which also included the Memorial Stadium for the district. In the first phase of that, working with Huckabee Architects and Stewart Builders, it is our recommendation that we accept the guaranteed maximum price not to exceed $8,367,159.
Okay, do I hear a motion for the board to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $8,367,159 for the construction of Phase 1 of Alvin High School improvements for UIL events and parking with Stewart Builders, and authorize the superintendent or his designee to negotiate and execute the final contract document?
I will make a motion.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tanini. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Schabel. Do y'all have any questions or comments about this? All right then. All in favor of approving the GMP of $8,367,159 for the construction of Phase 1 of Alvin High School improvements for UIL events and parking with Stewart Builders, and authorize the superintendent or his designee to negotiate and execute the final contract document? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board. There you go, Coach Bass.
All right, next on the agenda is the request to consider approval of the encroachment agreement for Enterprise Crude Pipeline LLC at the Central District Stadium site.
So back now, switching to the Central District Stadium site in Iowa Colony, we have to, in order to proceed with that construction there, we have to give an encroachment agreement to Enterprise Crude Pipeline LLC. There is a pipeline buried underneath that we've seen that runs across the property. It is definitely worked into the plans and in no way was impeded, but there is a needed encroachment and ability to access that by that pipeline.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to authorize the superintendent or his designee to negotiate and execute the encroachment agreement with Enterprise Crude Pipeline LLC? First by Mr. Humbert. Is there a second from Ms. Winterstrom? Thank you so much. Any discussions or comments about this agenda item?
Pat, can you explain to us one more time exactly where this is at?
It cuts on a diagonal through the 90-acre plus site, the stadium and the transportation center will be on. And all through construction and negotiations with, and writing the design specs for the district stadium project, we've been aware of it, and we're gonna have to work back and forth over the top of it. It is a dedicated pipeline easement that has some conditions for how we work near and in proximity to it. So we're just agreeing to those conditions, which we knew all along, which the general contractor knows and is obligated to adhere to. So it does cut on a diagonal. It runs up through Meridiana, the planned development, through their residential and housing development. And so it has two pipelines in it. And we've worked the site so that all of our great amenities that are going there won't be encumbered by this pipeline easement.
Great.
What will we have over it? Grass.
Okay.
True.
No parking, nothing like that? No, we will have a couple of
Okay.
drives that pass over it, which we have to design to a special standard. So it'll just be green space.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right then. So we have a first and a second. We've had our discussion. So all in favor of authorizing the superintendent or his designee to negotiate and execute the encroachment agreement with Enterprise Crude Pipeline LLC? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Alrighty, request to consider approval of personnel.
Board, in your packet, we have these are two people that are already employed by us, but this is a change of contract status for that. So our recommendation is that approval be granted for these requested personnel items as presented.
All right, thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve the requested personnel items as presented?
So moved.
First by Ms. Winterstrom, second by Ms. Metoyer.
Sure.
All right, is there any questions or comments? Hearing none, then all in favor of approving the requested personnel items as presented? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Moving forward, request to consider approval of administrative staffing position principal at Shirley Dill Brothers Elementary School.
So it seems like we do this almost every month.
I
doesn't
know,
it?
it is.
So obviously, as the growth and construction of elementary 17 Shirley Dill Brothers Elementary School proceeds, it is time to start thinking about staffing that school, and that begins with the principal. And so our recommendation is that we go ahead and approve this position now, so we can post it and bring that name to you in the very near future.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the staffing request of principal at Shirley Dill Brothers Elementary as submitted?
So moved.
First by Ms. Tanini, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Schabel, for that second. Do y'all have any questions or comments?
Bring us another great one.
All right, then, all in favor of approving the staffing request of principal at Shirley Dill Brothers Elementary as presented? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
And on to our next fun one, the request to consider approval of administrative staffing position, the principal at elementary school number 18.
So here we are for elementary 18. Elementary 18 is located in the Pomona development. It is also on track to open in the 18 school year in August. And so we will be, if the position is granted, we'll be posting that position and bringing a name to you as soon as possible.
Thank you. So do I hear a motion to approve the staffing request of principal at elementary number 18 as submitted?
So moved.
First by Ms. Pickering, is there a second? Second by Mr. Humbird. Do y'all have any questions on this one? All right, don't see or hear anything. So then all in favor of approving the staffing request of principal at Alvin Elementary, request of principal at elementary number 18 as submitted? Motion carries 7-0. You like that one?
Thank you, Board.
All right, superintendent's report.
It's man, I love this first item. I actually had a chance to judge election doors at Mark Twain Elementary School this week with Miss Lively, who is our social studies curriculum coordinator, and she helped arrange for the student mock election. And if you can see there, we had a total of 19,579 students in our district that took part in that. That everykidsvote.org is the largest mock election for students in the entire country. Speaking of elections, State Representative Ed Thompson has visited our schools in the last couple of weeks. He first was an Honorary Watch D.O.G.S volunteer at Rodeo Palms Junior High and Don Jeter, Red Duke, and Savannah Lakes. He did it was a great way to watch him as he served as that watchdog, and I love the line of his last statement there. It's imperative, speaking of what Mr. G was talking about earlier today, imperative for men to set good examples for our children. He also, by the way, is not on there, he also went to Alvin High School in the, what's the name of that? Men read also. I don't know how, there's a program that the English department does there, talking about the fact that men do read, and so have male figures come into the English classrooms and actually spend time reading with them, and so he spent time doing that. Rear Admiral Kenneth Iverson came to the Manvel High School football game. He was the captain that night against Texas City, and the funny thing was, Coach Bass said that he was supposed to leave. He told us that he would have to leave right at the end of the first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter. finally, almost at the end of the game, he left. So he stayed the entirety of it, and we were honored to have a true American hero be there and be a part of that game that night. Shadow Creek High School was officially dedicated on Monday, October 24th. And all of us obviously were there to see it, but the important part that happened that night is that the pep rally themed celebration, I think, was appropriate, celebrating the students who have filled that campus and truly turned it into a school instead of just a building. The Shelley Garza Memorial Feed the Hungry Alvin ISD and Alvin Community College Food and Toy Drive is underway November 1st through the 28th. Donations can be made to any Alvin ISD campus, to Alvin Community College, or here at the administration building. And in case you missed it, Thanksgiving break, I promise you this, that our teachers have that date circled on their calendar. They are anxiously awaiting November 21st through 25th for Thanksgiving break, and then followed shortly after that, December 19th through January 2nd for our winter Christmas break. Lastly, you know, the people talk about ways that you can connect with Alvin ISD and how we're trying to connect back. And so you have there, and as part of what we're presenting out, all the different ways that we spend time connecting with community members, parents, and even students. And so, you know, our websites, our Twitter feeds. I actually have my own Twitter feed, in case you didn't know that. And
Twitter.
Yeah. Every time I start to tweet, Daniel gets very nervous. And so we have several Facebook pages across the district. We have the district page, and then several that fill from classrooms to campuses. We have an opportunity to share your story. I think that's really cool, is that if you have a story that you would like for us to know about and share in our district e-news, you have an opportunity to put that in there. We have the e-newsletter that goes out. We have Skyward Family Access that the parents really enjoy. My son doesn't enjoy it as much as the parents enjoy it. The parent surveys and student surveys and teacher and staff surveys. And then Let's Talk, which is a great opportunity for our community members to have a single opportunity to input anything, whether it's a question, a comment, an idea, a suggestion, or even something that we should know about, the problem that we need to take care of. The Let's Talk program is awesome in that it directs those things directly to the person that needs to know about it, and hastens the action. Daniel, within 24 hours, they're getting an answer back from whatever they put in there. So, and I believe that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. Moving forward, does any board member have a future agenda item? All right. Y'all, we're not having an executive session this evening. We don't need it.
We don't feel like we have enough additional information since the last time we went in under real estate to have anything extra to add. When we have that additional information, we will bring it back to you as quickly as possible.
On that note, then, I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Ehrenberg. Is anybody going to second that? Second. All right, thank you, Ms. Winterstrom. All in favor of adjourning? Motion carries 7-0.